Again, if you are able to hear this, have a good night, sir. Thank you very much for joining. It's getting a bit irritating. Is that tonight? And hopefully everything is back for you guys now. I do not know what's going on. I do wish Twitch would sort something out. When I can stream Twitch all day. I can stream Twitch all day, every day. I can run 4 or 5 streams off of Twitch at any given time. And yet, when you're trying to send stuff to them, it's just the disconnects get really... it's not even frustrating, it's kind of disappointing. It's almost a feeling of being let down. And I know when I'm watching other streamers where it happens to them, it's kind of like I kind of feel sorry for them. Especially now when I know it's like on the other end. Now in theory, if I use the tool in this direction, the uneven heating should actually be parallel to the direction I'm going in, but I'm not getting a great level of heating with this tool. Okay, well that's a bird. Oh, it will be when I've finished. I've had enough of that tool. It really isn't doing the job properly. So I'm going to, after this stream, I'm going to dig out my, I think I've got some more tips to try. It really is, well, not doing what I expected it to do, shall we say, with that tip. And it's causing dark, I keep getting dark marks like that, and I'm getting sort of these little edge marks. And I don't really want to start having to darken everything down just to get rid of them. Yeah, I really wanted to give it a try, you know, and to be sort of reasonably fair about it, because it's a new tip. It's one I've not used a great deal, so it's new to me. So I kind of really wanted to give it a chance, Adi. You know, because quite likely I'm not using it, you know, well, it's quite likely I'm not using it correctly. So I wanted to sort of, you know, try different angles, ways of doing things, just to see if it truly was something, or it's just me. And I think there's well, I'm not happy with it either way, whether it's me or the tip. So it'll be, I think that's one that'll get switched out. So I may well be just limited to using this particular tip. I'll see if I've got another one. I think I've got maybe a wider one. I think that one's just sort of got some sort of asymmetric heating, which is causing the difficulty. But it may well be it's inherent in all the wider tips. And if that's the case, then what I'll have to do is potentially they'll only work when they're really heated up. But then the thing about this machine I've got is I can adjust it so that it heats the big tips up well. But then the writing tip, for example, is glowing red hot, or I can adjust it so that one works quite well, and then the big tips don't heat up quite so much. I certainly don't want to be fiddling around with the screwdriver, adjusting it halfway through changing tips though, so looks like I'll have to pick one or the other. And you don't specifically use the writing tip very often. Because a lot of the time I can use this thing, just turn it over and use the edge, which is what I'd use the writing tip for most, like doing the trees. Potentially could have done it with the edge of this. I don't want this specifically to look like a little line across there, but so what I'm just doing is sort of stretching it out a little bit of fading, but if it sort of bands horizontally, so like little extensions, then it won't look too bad. Just kind of, sometimes all you need to do with an edge that looks quite strong is just to mess it up a bit, and that can be enough sometimes just to break up the outline, and you don't actually have to fade things. this wants cleaning. Fade lines. You just sometimes need to, as I say, break up the outline of a line, and you don't see it quite so much. I wonder when that picked up that. I managed to get sort of a slightly darker mark there, but that was kind of like just some residue on the bottom of the pen. So I can, I'm using the edge and slightly scraping it, so it sort of fades it a little bit. Not a great deal, but sometimes that's enough to reduce just how thick it looks. So when I've used these brown marks on there, actually from the heat, it's kind of like the resin, the cooked resin. You do get a slight film on the bottom, and sometimes that will actually present itself just like it did there, like a dark mark, which is actually just sort of overcooked resin that's been dumped on the top, rather than overheating that particular area of the wood. That's not so bad. I've got an area across there which I need to disguise a little bit. And around here, yeah. I need more practice with these tools. But that's starting to look more like what I was after. I just caught a hair on the wood. It's horrible. Burning hair smell. Yeah, probably will turn that into some sort of birdish sort of shape. So it's set like out of focus right in the background. I mean, it's almost sort of a small aeroplane shape at the moment, but nearly. Now that I've got that dark around there, you can see this sort of highlight now on the front of the trunk. Actually, before I start fiddling with that, I've got to remember I've got a little bit more texturing to do on the trunk. It's a little bit too smooth at the moment around the sides, but okay. Let's just do a little bit more in here. How's Steve-O doing these days, Creams? I don't get to watch him very often. He's either streaming while I'm streaming, or he's streaming while I'm at work, and I don't often get a chance to watch many streamers whilst I'm at work. Okay, I need this to be darker. Obviously, it's too straight a line at the moment. It's video editing early. Oh, okay. On stream. That's interesting. It's pretty well. I think he records his videos, doesn't he? So his streams. So maybe I'll have to watch that. See how he does it. Always interesting to learn how other people do things. One of these days I'll have to do some myself and actually. So I used to do a lot of video editing for to put on DVD. Generally sort of holiday type video stuff. But sort of it's a while since I've done any, so I'm still sort of trying to decide, because I could do with putting some videos up on YouTube. So. But to do that, I kind of need, something like this to go on YouTube. I need to time lapse it. But I'm gonna have to invest in a new video editing tool, because the one I've got doesn't read the recording format. I don't really feel like converting and then having to edit, render, and then convert and start messing about like that. So I am at some point going to have to look for a decent suite. I could always, of course, get the Adobe Premiere, I think it is, but I already use Photoshop, so then it becomes expensive to put the video suite in there as well, because they rent it to you these days. They don't particularly like you buying stuff. But the way their rental works is you can rent one thing, not too bad. As soon as you rent two, you can't rent two, you have to rent everything. And it takes, you go from about £6 to £26, which is a big jump. I may try out one of the Corel video editing apps, I think. I don't know, has anybody got any particular experience of using video editing app stuff? I say it's a year since I've done it, so I don't, other than the staple ones, I've no idea what's good or or not so good. Needs to be just a little bit more faded. Just in that area there. Still a bit too heavy a transition. Ah, that's a bit better. Max out the cake. Hi, good evening. Interesting reference. Does it happen to be anything to do with Minecraft or Portal? Or is it a total reference to something else? No, how so? Just the cake reference. This cake in Minecraft, which is sort of a why is a cake in Minecraft type of thing, and it's just an unusual thing. And of course, cake in Portal, because of course GLaDOS, the cake is a lie. You know, I think in one of the puzzles, she promises them cake if they get to if they get somewhere, but that's the wrong way to go. So you know, she sort of says it's perfectly safe. There's cake there or something, and if you go where she's indicating, you die. You have to start again. So the cake is a lie. Something like that. I can't actually remember, to be honest. But that's that I just picked up on the appear to be an emphasis on the cake bit of your name there. Yeah, okay. No, there's nothing. Great, nice choice. From my perspective as a streamer trying to say your name, it's wonderful to have one that's very easy to say as opposed to some that we see and try and work out how to pronounce. So yeah, on behalf of streamers, thank you. I'm just fiddling with this. I'm trying to make it fade. It sort of looks like it's doing it okay now. Again, I'm using the stream because to look at it, because the stream has a sort of the stream windows have a more strong impression of the colours. I know it's looking black and white to you guys, but it things like, you know, a line across there really stand out more on the stream than they do specifically here in person. So it's quite useful for me to keep looking at the stream window. Anyway, I'm going to make them join a bit further up. It looks a bit too much like a flag or something. Just there. So I'm just going to overlap that just a little bit. That way it doesn't look like a piece of Battenberg cake. Does it? Okay, not just black and white. It's I mean, I'm looking at my output here, and I can see it's a color calibrated monitor as well, but it looks really sort of I can see some brown colors in some places, some quite nice ones, but it doesn't seem to quite represent it like I'm seeing it here. But I am aware this camera is a little bit odd with colours. Some purples it doesn't show up, it shows them as blue and things like that, so there's some interesting colour differences between what I see and what the camera sees. It seems to be something generally associated with this Logitech 920 webcam. Okay, I'm wondering, I've got a fair few sort of dark marks in here, and this is a new board to me. I got these boards from a different place than I have got them from before, and I'm just wondering if there's just a slight difference. They're all supposed to be AB quality birch ply, but I'm just wondering if sort of storage or something has done something. So I'm getting rather a lot of more splotches than I normally get. You know, these little dark areas. I know this one around here is probably more due to the tool I was using, but the few around here are down to this one, which is kind of unusual for me. I'm just wondering if the wood's reacting slightly differently. I mean, it's something I've got to deal with. You know, it's not. I'm not blaming the wood or anything, but I'm just wondering whether it's got anything, you know, whether it's not being aided, shall we say, by the particular wood. Anyway, we'll find out the next time I do it and things like that. I might try a different piece of wood. But anyway, I think that I've probably done enough for tonight. I'm going to get myself a nice drink, It's a little bit warm around here, even though those tools are not particularly hot. It does sort of just generally warm up the atmosphere. Let me zoom that camera out a little bit. Eddie Fall Guy, good night. Thank you for dropping in. Have a good evening. Oh, sorry, Max out the cake. Thank you very much for your comment earlier. I didn't actually notice it. I missed that, so thank you for saying that. It's very kind of you. Well, I do hope it is. That is the intention of it, is to create something that looks quite good. It's intending to be sort of a dusk, sunset-ish sort of scene. African savanna. Although I don't know if it's an African elephant or an Indian elephant. I think Africans have bigger ears. I think that's the difference, but I'm not sure. So that's kind of the intention. So there is some more work to do on the elephant, but putting the background in helps establish some of the colour ranges that are used. So these sorts of areas around here, for example, looked really too light until we put the background. Too dark until we put the background in, and suddenly they become really light. So it has an impact on things. You off as well, is it so? Okay, well have a good evening, have a good night, and thank you for dropping in. So tomorrow night stream is more of the background, I'm afraid, till we get sort of across here, and we get across the back here of the head, and we can see what that's like, and then we can work on the elephant from there. And then decide. I've got to decide quite what to do on the bottom here. Not quite sure. Probably do it at some sort of grassland. Now I've got to work out a technique to do that sort of grassland sort of effect with it. I'm not quite sure the best way of doing that, but we shall experiment and see. It's not something I've done before, so it'll be fun to try out. But anyway, let's 10:30. Yeah, it's enough for tonight. So what I'm going to say is thank you all for watching. It's been great having you all around and chatting. If there's anybody watching that isn't following, I of course do encourage you to do so, as I'm sure do most streamers. But if you would like, and you want to just know when I go live and don't want to follow me on Twitch, that's okay. You are welcome to follow me on Twitter, because I do send a tweet out when I go live, so you can always use it as an alternative notification. As I'm prone to saying these days, I tweet when I go live, not when I have my breakfast. And if you just want to try and catch me tomorrow night, which will be Friday, I start from 8 PM around about 8 PM in the UK. That's 1900 hours GMT. And if you are in a different time zone, subtract 2.5 hours from the time you've currently got in your time zone. That would be 8 PM in the UK. But that time tomorrow night. I stream 7 nights a week at the moment, so same time every night, generally for 2 to 2.5 hours, just depending on how things are going and how Twitch is going. Apart from that, have a good night everybody. Again, thank you for watching. Bye bye.